Probably one of my most requested videos, aside from sharing a look into my handbag collection, would be a shoe collection video. So I thought today I would share with you all of my shoes as well as a mini review on every single pair. I figured the easiest way to do this would be filming cutaways and then just doing a voiceover. So that's what I've done, and I hope that suits you guys. I will have all of my sizing for every single pair of shoes down in the description box below. Some of these shoes are quite old, so I will try and find some alternatives if you like the look of them and want to go and seek them out for yourselves. I will say that I have a bit of a problem when it comes to shoes. They are kryptonite for me. It's just one of those areas in my wardrobe where I always seem to give in, and it was a little bit of a gateway for me when it came to, I guess, really investing in my wardrobe. That said, I really hope that you guys enjoy this. I realized afterwards also that I have missed out 3 pairs of shoes. One is a really old pair of loafers from a collaboration that Karen Walker did from Pointer. These shoes are about 10 or 12 years old. Then there's also 2 newer pairs of shoes which I haven't actually received yet. One is a pair of slides from the Solo. I will leave those linked down below because they look really simple, just very chic, and it's also an ethical, sustainable brand. And then also some Dorze pumps from Sam Edelman, which I've had my eye on for, I want to say, a couple of years now, and I managed to find them on sale. So with that all out the way, let's dive into my full shoe collection. Starting with sandals, I wanted to kick off with one of my favorite pairs. These ones from Sportscraft. I bought these 3 summers ago and they have been worn so much. I love the snake print design on the toe. I just feel like it adds something really fun to my outfits and just another texture. Next up we have some Frankie 4 sandals. I wore these a lot during my pregnancy because they have arch support, and I was really concerned about my arch dropping a little bit. They are super comfortable and I love the tan color of them. If you are a long-time subscriber of mine, then you'll be very familiar with these slides from Jane Debster. I bought them as a dupe for the Saint Laurent slides, and they have been so incredibly comfortable and a great option if you have champagne taste on a beer budget. I actually ended up investing in the Saint Laurent slides last year while I was pregnant. I ended up sizing up in these to a 41 just to have a bit more width across the foot. I love the patent and the milk color of these. I just think they are so divine, and I wore them loads over the summer. These next sandals are from Jo Mercer, and what really drew me to them was the T-bar design. These ones were gifted to me and I have enjoyed wearing them so much. I think they're really flattering. The quality of the leather is exceptional, and I think the block heel adds some much needed height. My final pair of sandals are from Cezanne, and these are a pair of espadrilles. I actually bought these because I really wanted to try out their leather shoes, or their leather goods in general, and I thought these would be a great option, particularly for the summertime. I am not 100% sure on sizing. I will have that in the description box below because these feel a little bit big on me, but the quality of them is really nice. I'm looking forward to putting them on rotation when the summertime hits here in Sydney. Moving on to flats, I thought we'd start off with my favorite pair, which are the Kitty flats from Charlotte Olympia. I bought my first pair of these 8 years ago when Luke and I were in Europe, and I wore them so much that I ended up needing a second pair, and Luke very kindly got me some for Christmas. I still wear these frequently. I love what they add to an outfit. They're just so quirky and fun, and there's not really much more to say aside from that. They're very comfortable too. One of my most worn shoes of the autumn season were the Everlane 40-hour flats. The leather on them is more on the thin side and it's very soft, and it just sort of molds to the shape of your foot. I went up half a size to my usual in these just because I found that they're a little bit snug and narrow otherwise. And then we have my Sam Edelman loafers. You'll have seen these so many times. I mention them quite frequently in my designer dupes videos. I love these shoes and think they are an amazing option if you're looking for a more affordable version of the Gucci loafers. They've held up really well. I probably need to put a little bit of shoe polish on the front just to help buff out some of those scuffs, but still comfortable, and they're still going strong a couple years on. Next up is a really fun and punchy colored pair of shoes, the Editor Slingback flats from Everlane. I've had these for a couple of years. I've got them in 2 colors. The elastic on the strap is prone to stretching out a little bit. I've had that issue with my black pair. On to another pair of slingback flats. These ones are my Cinderella shoes. I adore these. They're basically a dupe for the Amina Muaddi Begum heels, but just a much more practical option. I really like them. They're very comfortable and these fit true to size. I invested in the Dior slingback flats last year, and I'm so thrilled that I finally managed to get my hands on these. They're a classic shoe, but I think the Jade Dior emblazoned ribbon around the heel just is a really nice touch, and I always really like what they add to my outfits. The reknit day gloves from Maybelline are probably up there as one of my most worn pairs of shoes, just because I tend to wear them a lot when I'm just working from home. They feel like slippers. They're so incredibly comfortable, and while I don't particularly love the super high vamp, I do find myself reaching for these when I'm going for a walk and I want something light on my feet. Moving on to sneakers, this pair from Veja were really what kicked off my obsession and I guess the shift to a more casual style in my wardrobe. These ones were gifted to me from Luke and I've really loved wearing them, though I will say that the tongue does still sometimes dig into the front of my shin. I have done a whole sneaker review video, so I'm going to link that up in the cards if you'd like to go and have a watch. Next up we have my Golden Goose sneakers. These are the most expensive pair that I have and I'm gonna say I'm glad that I spent the money on them. They're so comfortable. I love the little hidden heel, which gives you a bit of extra height and is what makes them look so flattering on your legs. While I think it's a bit odd to be buying distressed sneakers that look like they're worn in already, these seem to go with everything and I really love the casual element that they add to some of my more feminine outfits. If you want a really comfortable pair of sneakers, you can't go past this pair from Frankie 4. I like that these are in a patent because it makes them a little bit different, but unlike regular patent, this has a really soft, squishy feel to it. The inner sole is really nice and supportive and it does come with some other inner soles that you can put in to adjust the fit so that they are perfectly tailored for your foot. This next pair are from Maybelline and these are the court sneakers and these are great if you have a wide foot because they're very roomy on the inside. I said this in my review video, but they feel a little bit boxy, almost like there's a hollow feel to them. You have to try them on, I think, to know what I mean. I find these really difficult to style up just because they are more of a chunkier sneaker. The second most expensive pair of sneakers that I've got are the Common Projects, and I have to admit these are not the ones for me. They are better suited if you've got a narrow foot. I find that even now that I've worn them more than 10 times, I'm still continuing to get blisters on my feet, which is really unfortunate. I love the way that they look, and because they were so expensive, the ones that I am still going to hang on to. The Adidas Stan Smith sneakers really had a moment a few years ago, and I can appreciate why now owning a pair. They are really comfortable, very sort of squishy, although I will say that I find the leather quite bright and white. I think I'd prefer it if it was a little bit lighter and a bit more muted. The laces on them are super long, so do keep that in mind. I find that when I'm walking, if I haven't double knotted them, the tips will hook in around the tongue of the sneaker. The final pair of sneakers I've got are from Reebok, and these are the C85 sneakers, and these are immensely comfortable. Luke actually ended up buying a pair after he saw mine, and he loves wearing his as well. I often wear these when I'm going on my walk just because they're quite cushiony inside, and I find I can walk really long distances in them. Moving into heeled sandals, and we're almost halfway there through all my shoes, I thought I'd start with my By Far Nude Mules. I got these because I saw them on absolutely everyone, and I think they're a beautiful shoe. However, I will say that I do find that they sometimes slip off my feet when I'm wearing them, so they're not the most practical option. That said, the block heel does make these very comfortable, and I haven't gotten any blisters from the straps either, which is surprising considering that these are patent shoes. A more practical mule option are these ones from Everlane. These are in the reknit fabric again. Because the covering of the shoe comes up quite high, I don't have any issues with these falling off my feet, and the block heel makes them incredibly comfortable to walk in. Years ago, I used to have a pair of sandals from opening ceremony which I wore to the ground. Got to the point where the strap broke and I ended up cutting the straps off and turning them into slingbacks. In the end, I had to part ways with them, and I've been on the hunt for something similar ever since, and I found these ones from About Ariane. They're not perfect. I do feel like the strap is a little bit long across the foot, and I will say they also fit big. Size down if you end up getting these, but I do love this sort of comma-like heel. I think it's really interesting and adds a unique point of difference to these sandals. I bought the ATP strappy sandals, I want to say 18 months ago. I've had them for a while and I definitely wore them in the summer of 2018-2019. These are pretty comfortable, however they don't have a lot of support. I do find if I'm walking long distances, these can be a little bit uncomfortable from that perspective because it feels very hard on the base of my foot. Otherwise, these are amazing and I find them very easy to walk in. They also come in a tan color too, which is really pretty. For going out shoes, these Vince Camuto strappy sandals are honestly the best. These are such great value for money and they look a lot more expensive than they actually are. I got the leopard print pony hair, which I just thought was a really fun way to inject a little bit of print and color to my wardrobe, considering I do wear quite minimal outfits. And I like the fact that these have a lower heel. They come in two different heel heights and I opted for the slightly more easy to walk in version. Another pair of really fun heeled sandals are these terracotta suede ones from Seed. I bought these during the sale and I got them because they reminded me a lot of a pair of Isabel Marant heels that I wanted to get a few years ago and completely missed out on. They're actually surprisingly not that hard to walk in, and I love the strappy detail around the ankle. These heels from Marc I bought 3 years ago, and I remember taking them to Dallas with me when I went for the Reward Style conference, so they've got a lot of really fun memories attached to them. I've also worn them to quite a few weddings. They're really high, and I will admit sometimes they feel a little bit difficult to walk in because I do find the strap sort of twists around, but I love the look of them. They are just a classic strappy sandal, and they have a braided design to the straps, which is really cool, especially when you're looking at them up close. These Alexander Wang sandals I've had for so long. They're probably one of the oldest pairs of shoes that I have. I bought them when I was working in Parliament, and I remember I got them from the Barney's sale, so I got a pretty good deal on them. They're actually pretty comfortable because they have quite an unusual thick heel. I love the design of them. It's really unique, and I've never seen any other shoe like them. The highest pair of shoes that I own are these triple strap sandals from Joe Mercer. These actually aren't that difficult to walk in despite how high they are, which I think is all down to the block heel, and they're really easy to put on because they've got a zipper at the back. Again, the quality of them is really nice, and if I want to jazz up an outfit or I just want to kind of add a bit of oomph to my look, I'll throw these on, and I always know that they will come through for me. Last year I shared that I got these Ann Demeulemeester strappy booty sandals, and I'd been on the hunt for these for years. I remember that Jane from Sea of Shoes had them, and I'd been obsessed ever since. I have to admit they're probably a little bit gothic for my personal style, but I can really appreciate them. I'm still not sure if these are a pair of shoes I'm going to hang on to, but for now I'm keeping them in my closet. The final pair of heeled sandals that I have are some espadrilles from Bowden. I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't necessarily think that espadrilles are the most flattering shoes, but they are incredibly comfortable. These ones in particular, I didn't get a single blister the first time that I wore them, and I found I can walk pretty long distances in them too. The quality of the suede is really beautiful on these as well. Moving on to heels, let's start with the lowest pair that I've got, which are my Vanelli two-tone pumps. You probably know how obsessed I am with these shoes. I have them in 3 different colors. I wear them every single week. They're just such a classic and so worth the money, and a really great dupe for the Chanel two-tone pumps. Next up, we have my Charlotte Olympia black suede pointed toe pumps. I bought these during the sale from Essence, and they have been, again, another favorite shoe of mine. I love the signature gold heel that Charlotte Olympia does. I just think it's really fun and different and adds a really nice detail to the shoes. They have this bow across the toe as well, which is really pretty. The Editor slingback heels are coming up as one of my favorite shoes to reach for whenever I want a little bit of height. I love the pointed toe. I find that always helps to elongate the leg. The squared off vamp exposes enough of my foot to again just give that visual length to my legs, and the slingback detail is just one that I really like and I find easy to put on. The next pair of shoes are also a slingback. These ones are again from By Far, and these are, I believe they're called the Danielle heels. These have a really vintage style squared off toe and a super thick strap. They're a bit of an unusual shoe, and I went for a wild card option getting these in a maroon burgundy color. I haven't really worn these much, I have to admit, because I do find them a little bit more difficult to style, and I'm thinking I probably would have been better off getting them in black. So I might have to get these dyed at the cobbler. If you're a long-time follower of mine, then you will be very familiar with this next shoe, which are the day heels from Everlane. I found them comfortable enough to walk the 1.5 hours during my commute every single day to and from work, and they were always my shoe of choice whenever it came to going out. The leather is really nice and soft, though I will admit that sometimes the elastic at the heel can dig in just a little. In a similar vein are the Valentino Tango pumps. These have a slightly lower heel than the day heels, and they've got a strap around the ankle. I really love these, however, because they are more of a stiffer leather, I do find that they can be a little bit painful across my left foot where I've got a bunion, so I don't really reach for them very much anymore. Another favorite pair of shoes of mine are the Editor heels from Everlane. I have these in 3 colors. I just adore them. Again, I love that squared off detail across the foot. I just think it's a really flattering detail, and the heel height on these isn't too high, so they're very easy to walk in. These Kurt Geiger mules, oh my gosh, these are one of those splurgy type pieces that I bought despite not having anywhere to wear them earlier this year. I really like the Jimmy Choo Bing heels, but I just found them a little bit out of my price range, especially considering that I'm now a mum and I don't really go out that often. These seem to be a good compromise for me, and actually I think I prefer them. I like the matte leather and I just feel like the strap across the foot is a lot more blingy and fun. I absolutely adore this next pair of heels from Dior. These I purchased pre-loved and they were in immaculate condition. It was like they'd never been worn. They are the softest suede, which makes them really comfortable. And again, I just love that sling back detail, and they have that same bow design on the sides as the Dior flats that I have. They also have that signature Dior comma heel. Another one of the oldest pairs of shoes in my wardrobe are these Givenchy sequin heels. I've had these for 8 years, I want to say. I purchased them the first summer that Luke and I were dating, and I had barely any cell phone reception and bought them at the top of a hill where I had one bar. It was a little bit comedic, but they've turned out to be one of the best purchases that I've made, as I've gotten so much joy from wearing them. I've worn these to so many events and I feel like they're just the star of the show of my outfit, particularly when I'm going for something a little bit more basic. These patent marbled heels from Dior were the shoes that I wore when Luke and I got married, and I just have so many fond memories. That was just one of the most magical days, and I'm so glad I ended up going with these shoes. I wanted something that was really carefree, that wouldn't get damaged if I spilled a little bit of wine on them. Admittedly, I haven't really worn them since, but they're the kind of shoe that I feel like I could wear again and again, and they're pretty comfortable as well. The final pair of heels I've got are another old purchase, ones that I bought when I lived back in Wellington. These are from Isabel Marant and they are a suede pointed toe pump with a bow detail on the vent. And I really love wearing these. They're relatively comfortable for a 10cm heel, although I have to admit I find them a little bit more difficult to walk in these days because I'm much more accustomed to lower heel heights. Finally, let's talk through my boots, starting with my Loaf Randall suede boots. These are probably one of the least worn pairs that I have, just because I do find them a little bit trickier to style. I like to have a little bit of a gap when I'm wearing boots with skinny jeans, and these come up a little bit higher on the leg. They're pretty comfortable and I really like the Western style design with the Cuban heel. Next we have the Boss boots from Everlane, which I bought as an alternative to the Acne Studios Jensen boots, and I ended up keeping these ones because I just thought that they were much more practical and I preferred the way that they looked because they do have that little block heel. These are so comfortable, don't have any break-in time, and they're really easy to get on and off because they have the zipper on the side. When I think of my style uniform when I was in my early 20s, I wore Chelsea boots every single day. That particular pair of boots, I think I wore almost daily for close to 5 years. I loved them so much, but they got to the point where they were no longer salvageable at the cobblers. I've been looking for a replacement ever since, and these boots from Midas are a pretty close match. The heel's probably just a little bit higher than I would normally go for. They're really comfortable though, despite that, and really easy to walk in, and I love the quality of the leather. It's really nice and soft. This next pair of shoes is the second to last pair, and these are from Isabella Anselmi. These are a glove boot, and I love the pointed toe design. You probably see a bit of a theme when it comes to my boots. I love a pointed toe just because I find that they are leg lengthening and they just feel a little bit more dressed up. The final pair of boots, which I'm really sorry that you can't see the very tops of them, are my Stuart Weitzman over-the-knee boots. I purchased these from the Outnet on sale. I got them for 50% off and I just thought that was such a score. Usually these over-the-knee boots that they do come in a rounded toe, but I really wanted a pointed toe design, so I felt pretty lucky to stumble across these ones. I will say I haven't really found too many occasions to wear them, but they are really comfortable and I can walk pretty long distances in them. So there you have it. Those are all of the shoes that I own. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it all the way to the end, because I know that this was a long one. As I mentioned, everything will be linked down in the description box below, along with all of my sizing if you want to go and check anything out. If you have a favorite pair, maybe let me know because I'm curious to see which ones you guys love the most. And I will see you next time with a brand new video. See you soon. Bye.